Hi everyone, it's Rita. I have the Akashic Records of the Ephod and the Urim and Thummim opened, and their purposes and uses, and then I added in Aaron and God. And if you're not familiar with this, as I wasn't, there are crystals mentioned in the Bible. And for those that know me, I love crystals, and I rediscovered that love of crystals when I moved overseas to South Africa in 2012. So I know how to access the Akashic Records. I studied with Dr. Linda Howe, who has her doctorate in Akashic Studies, and I can teach that work. So anyway, I have the Akashic Records of the Ephod, the Urim, and Thummim opened, and I asked about and its purposes and uses, and then at the end I added in the phrases I used, God's and Aaron's, and it's just such a joyful place. And I was going to write down some questions, and then so we wouldn't have a really long video, and maybe we won't. Everyone's attention span's a little short, I guess. So but I'm hearing, but it was just such joyful energy, and they were like, open the, they wanted to share that joy with you. So there's just so much joy in that space with God and Aaron, and why the Ephod and the Urim and Thummim was created. So is it as I read, that there was gold thread and colors for that was like a smock that was worn, and then there was a separate kind of a breastplate that when it's depicted, the stones are there's 12 stones, and they're supposed to reference the tribes. I'm hearing, yes, that was very similar, not as ornate as you may vision, because these were simpler times. So I'm channeling, so I'm telling you what I'm hearing. So these were simpler times. So what do we need to know? So there were 12 stones. They did represent the different tribes. And as you know, in your filming, Rita, with Revelation of You, there's energy around every person, has an electromagnetic and auric field, and so do the crystals. So having those represent energetically the tribes was an easy way to connect in, and reference them as because their energy. So when questions were asked, Aaron or the high priest could touch one of the crystals, and it was an easier way to connect in with God with that energy. And then because I'm asking why, and it was like we were still in a space of wanting and desiring the divine to connect in with us, because we had made some decisions that weren't egalitarian or equal for everyone. And so there was a reliance on God's word that came through that disconnect that they had, or judgment that they had for other tribes and things. And God really wanted a strong understanding of equality, and to be able to lead that way. So like how were the stones picked? Like each tribe got to pick their own stone, and it helped with the energy of it because the tribe imagined and knew their stone. And you'll see some of that even today, like certain groups of people, there's more things that they're drawn to. Although on your planet right now, a lot of people are drawn to protective stones because they've been made to fear their immortality as not being true. So, so what are you saying then that so they would, yeah, you would touch the stone to ask like to as an identifier to ask that question, and then it's in this energy around uh there's energy fields around you, and the heart has a very strong energy field, so it helps with that connection. And then what were kind of the Urim and the Thummim? They were tools or devices that would actually, I'm hearing they would actually, I wanted to tell you, like when I first went into this and I opened it up, this is before they had me, I just did a message around, and I'll read it at the end if you didn't see it, but I just channeled a message when I first went in here. But when I first went in, my hands were like really tingly, kind of like tingly fire. It's really interesting because I was asking about those stones in particular. And so um, they would, so I know in the Hebrew language, like Urim means light, and then truth. Were they like a yes, no? No, you could sort of look at them that way, but not really. They were a way to communicate with God, to make that connection, to bring Aaron's energy up. So would Aaron hear things from God? No, Moses could hear. That's interesting. Aaron, it would be like the stones would be heated up, is what I'm hearing. So they would get um, a pulse or hot. Is that right? No, more like a tingling, not hot. So what about when Aaron asked questions that weren't a yes, no? So when it tingled, it was a yes. And then when it was a really strong message, Aaron would have a sense of knowing. So would he actually hear God in his head? Sometimes he would, but it was more a sense of knowing the answer and then a confirmation. So was it God he was communicating with or his higher self? You're very clever, Rita. That's funny. There's a divine in everyone. There's a spark of the divine in everyone. As you know, there's not a God like sitting on a hill somewhere. And we'd like to say, and that could be another story. That would be another story. What do we need to know about this story with the Ephod? And what else? What other questions do you have? Yeah, so the different tribes would come to Aaron and ask Aaron to ask questions. Would it be on a certain day? No, he would just ask as it was needed. Okay. Is there any reason, like, was it a bridge between like the people can't talk to God? During that time, things were different, and because there had been distraction, um, from the oneness and the working together and the equanimity and equality with each other, the all the tribes decided that this was a good way to do it, and they trusted Aaron, and they mostly trusted Moses. So even though Aaron was the one, didn't Aaron? Yes, but as we told you earlier today, stepping into the sense of gratitude and owning your mistake and stepping into gratitude is divine love, divine wisdom comes to you. True gratitude, true appreciation for things that you've done in error or harming someone. So is it forgiveness? Forgiveness gives a lot of power to another person, so it's really around um, being grateful for having had the experience, because that should mean that you've learned from the experience. Okay, is there anything else we need to know about that? So were they like crystal points? Yes, they were natural crystal points, and they were not carved. Were they from this planet? No, they were from another planet. That is so cool. So were they different colors? Sort of like what I'm seeing is like one that would be like clear but kind of cloudy. And then one was more dark, but more like crystal, but it had some green in it. But like a dark green, like a gray dark green. Where did they come from? From some of the people that were the energies that were responsible for this planet. You have referenced them as the Anunnaki, and were there many of these stones? There used to be many of them, but they weren't used for this purpose. They did use them in communication equipment. That's interesting. What do you mean by communication equipment? Some of the energies that were on your planet that were from another planet would use them. It is a little off topic, I'm hearing, but not totally off topic. So what else? What else do we need to know about it was a complete honor. And it was a way for God to give trust and love to Aaron. Is there anything we need to know about why it didn't continue? Because I read that it continued for a while, but there was a loss of the equanimity, the equalness in the tribes. And when that happened, it didn't have a use anymore. They're like, read it. There's a very interesting and varied history there that you do not know a lot about, and that's true. What else do we need to know about this? They want me to read this. So when I opened this up, the Akasha up before, and then it says, "We are with you. It is a stellar time on your planet. So much remembering is pouring onto the planet. And your filming and books will help this energy tremendously over the next 8 to 10 years. Do not doubt it and do not stop. Keep asking and following your next highest available. God is with you. So it was really empowering. That felt really good. And it says, you are a powerful being. Only stand with those that know their power this way and recognize yours. You will find much synergy there and the hand of the divine God you represent. O holy waters, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Let all men rise into their greatness of remembering. It is done. Trust, love more, follow your heart. It will never deceive you. So that's beautiful. Revelation of you, know thyself. If you haven't seen, been working on a film with some dear friends, and it's kind of in a place where we're actually looking for an incredible production team, post-production team, and maybe a team that would do a little more filming with us. We filmed the energy fields around the body with different elements and interviews, trying to get the spiritual and science understanding of our energy field. And I've written a book, which I'm kind of finishing up now. Revelation of You, Know Thyself. It's a book about your energy field and the little bit of the history and empowering sort of message about your energy, and some photos and things from our filming, because we see before and after photos. I've got 250 photos. And we get to see amazing changes, and sometimes pink bands come in of orbs. So those are guides, those are angels interpretations, and guides come in, and we receive energy on the left side and just place it on the right. So the colors change, which is the frequency with some of these. So it's these different types of energies coming in. So anyway, beautiful, beautiful interpretations. And some we don't have interpretations for, but you can see the changes. We talk about those. So RitaLorraineCarey.com is my website. And if you want being guided to do more energy healing work, but if you want, I've got a discount on my readings right now to the end of the year. They're $200 for 60 minutes. And you can reach me at smilecitrine@protonmail.com or Rita@revelationofyou.com. And put your email at revelationofyou.com. It's a landing page for the film, and you'll be updated. I just posted interviews with Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Eben Alexander, and my friend Shizan and I, who was part of the original filming. Our interview with Dr. Eben Alexander, the lip sync didn't work up for the whole thing, right? So Alex Lipton and I did another interview with Dr. Alexander, but I was able to a clip that Shizan did. He's a really amazing filmmaker. He's got a film right now called Face of the Faceless, and it's won 170 awards. It was an Oscar potential nominee contender, so it's a beautiful story that he had been wanting to bring to the world for a number of years, and he was able to do it, and he's still traveling with it. But if you get a chance to see it, it's amazing. And power of forgiveness is incredible. It's a beautiful story in that way. And yeah, so I'm posting these interview videos. I've got a couple. I've got Rebecca Dawson's interview. I did the first part of Virginia Hummel. I'll do a second part with her that we did an interview. Her son she's written a book on orbs. She's written a book on grief. Her son and her had an agreement before he was born, I think. And he died in his 20s. And so she has spent a lot of her life talking about the orbs and things, because she saw these different things after his death. Anyway, I can go on and on about all that, but I appreciate you. If you watch this to the end, thank you. And blessings and love to you.